explain a little bit more.
How's it going, guys? Thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate you coming out. So we're going to go over a few things today, and then we'll obviously let you get into the game. The main focus of what we're going to talk about are the two paths that we have not revealed much information about. This is the scientist and the seller. So we're going to go over those in an in-game demo. But we're also going to show you two videos that have not been debuted to the public yet. In fact, what we're going to do is show you guys these real quick, and then these will be debuted when the embargo lifts on the 22nd. So without further ado, I'm going to play these for you.
Hello. Excuse me. There. Much better. Each and every one of you has chosen a particular path that will determine your responsibilities once we have arrived on Nexus. It is important that you are well informed of the imminent dangers associated with this choice, despite the fact that few of you will actually survive them. Let us proceed. Soldiers, legendary heroes in the making. Your mission will be to conquer the deadly creatures, hostile natives, and military opponents you encounter on the planet's surface. Will there be glory for some of you? Indeed. For others. Scientists, for you, knowledge is the ultimate weapon. As you delve into the scientific mysteries of the Elden, you will systematically analyze the exotic flora and fauna found on the planet. Unfortunately, most of it will be trying to teach you. At least your deaths will be for a noble cause. Explorers, oh, such a bold and adventurous group. Prepare yourselves to chart this wild new frontier, braving some of the most dangerous and inaccessible locations on planet Nexus. Undoubtedly, you think this sounds exciting. Please provide your next of kin before departure. And settlers, dedicated builders and pioneers, your duty is to tame this hostile alien world, constructing beneficial structures for your friends and allies. Understandably, your enemies may not appreciate your efforts. Oh, that's unfortunate. So, as you can see, the choice of your path brings with it a number of challenges. Fortunately for those of you who are looking for a way out, I have a different alternative. Any takers? Class dismissed.
Oh.
Welcome to WildStar. This is DevSpeak. Disclaimer, and this series is about taking a closer look at WildStar's gameplay. So let's jump headfirst into one of our biggest features, paths. So everyone picks a path when they create their character. It's part of you. But unlike your race and class, this choice is about how you like to play MMOs. Now don't get me wrong, the game itself has a huge amount of variety. No matter what your path, you'll be getting into all kinds of situations, like going kamikaze rhino on some dastardly pirates, or finding underwater robots in a frozen lake. But paths will consistently give you more of your favorite content. Take my buddy Fedora here. She likes to explore. In other games, she's always trying to scale up mountains, find secret locations, or race me from some farmhouse to some satellite dish. Hell, she turns MMOs into scavenger hunts. In WildStar, because she picked the Explorer path, she has access to that content everywhere. Like placing a beacon on top of this tree, discovering a secret underground tunnel system, or running a time challenge from way up here to way over there. She'll even get actual scavenger hunts. Now Franco here, he likes to know things. Like, what's the deal with these giant flowers? Why does their pollen make me float? This is why Franco plays scientist. He's got a little scan bot that can unlock all the answers he seeks. Like, what's the secret purpose of this facility? And how can he arrange these things in just the right way so, aw shit, hidden room. Now me, I just like killing things. And not just everyday things. Big old waves of things. Freaking huge weird things. Light enemies on fire kinda things. Yeah! Get some! That's why I play Soldier. Soldier gives me experimental weaponry to play with, huge holdouts, and super hard boss fights. And then you have settlers, like JP Higginbottom. He can literally build buildings, all over the place. Things like buff stations, vendors, secret quest givers with rare loot, even shared infrastructure projects. And JP Higginbottom loves the attention. You may see him trying to attract you to his campfire. Don't feel special. He gets path XP when you use it. Now when all this group together, it gets pretty awesome. It's like an old pen and paper adventuring party. Fedora drags us up deadly jump puzzles, Franco tells us a secret backstory, I get the group into huge fights, and JP Higginbottom builds us speeder bikes to ride back into town. Even playing the same path is fun. Explorers can, like, race each other to the top of the mountain, soldiers make each other's holdouts bigger and more rewarding, even settlers get payoffs for teamwork. I could go on forever about paths, but I gotta run. JP Higginbottom just built a bar. And drinks are half off. If you want to know more about anything, give us a shout. As always, the devs are listening.
Alright, so those are the two videos that will debut on the 22nd. We're going to go ahead and go in-game, and we're going to talk a lot more in depth about the scientist and the settler and what makes them cool. So paths, as a general overview, are a play style thing. You know, how do you like to play games? Do you like to kill the hell out of everything? Do you like exploring by going to the tops of mountains or going underground into secret tunnels? Do you like lore and story and puzzles? Scientist is for you. And the settler is more of the social butterfly, the person that likes to talk with everybody, hangs out in capital cities and just wants to talk, doesn't really want to do anything. That's typically the type of path you want to pick if you're that type of person. So we're here in Galaris. This is a war zone area that's right outside the capital for the exiles called Thade. You'll see the little telegraphs on the ground there and missiles coming in, blowing up and stuff like that. It's a pretty cool play space to be in. There's a lot of crazy carnage going on, and it's the typical thing that we like to do in WildStar, which is awesome environments with these hazards and epic content. So we're going to talk about the scientist a bit. Just as a warning, we are going to cheat heavily throughout this. I apologize in advance, but it's the only way we can get through all the stuff that we want to show in a very timely manner so you guys can play the game more. So what we're going to do here is spawn in a flower here. I don't know if you guys saw the 2011 debut trailer for WildStar, the one that Blur did, but there's an orange scientist, and that orange scientist scans a flower. That flower is actually not what it seems. It turns into something a little more pretty, like a giant beast that just rips up out of the ground. So in this case, you can fight this beast, and you can actually get lore and information about that beast through our scan bot. It goes into the Galactic Archive. So here we're also demoing our combat. Combat's pretty, it has these telegraphs on the ground here. And they move around as the player moves, so that attack that you just saw is what happens when he's at a certain percentage of health. As the health decreases, different telegraphs go off. And what Loic just did was an interrupt, so when they have a telegraph on the ground, if you do a CC, it will interrupt them and actually make them go weaker. So you notice that Loic is moving around quite a bit, and an effective player is going to be able to do that if they want to kick ass and take names, as Loic just did. So you'll notice that a bunch of loot just erupted out of the creature. We call that the loot pinata. And then he just brought it into him by hitting D for vacuum. It's a cool little quality of life issue. So something I want to show off too is the codex here. Codex has lots of stuff like quest log information, challenges, etc. We're showing off the mission log here. So we're in galleries, and you can filter where you want to see your path missions from. And you'll also notice to the right here we have at what level you earn what rewards. So path XP is different from regular XP. At each level you get something cool, like boots, for example, there, or an ability, or pants, or items for your house, all sorts of stuff. So beyond that we have the available missions and detailing what they are. And then below that we have the ability to actually change our robot's name. So we're going to change this name from Scanbot to Brobot, because he's Robot, I guess. So we do that, and check it out. Wow, his name's Robot, cool. So over here we have a scanning mission where we're trying to figure out what this Elven tech is. So as the mission states, you need to scan these little pillars here. After you're done scanning the pillars, you'll be able to solve this puzzle. You'll see right there that he's getting a percentage towards that. He also just got a mission that unlocked right there. So the mission is almost complete, but yeah, he's going to get this puzzle. And the whole point is to open a door over there, and only the scientist can do this. No other path can do this stuff. So there we go, we just got 25 path XP, and now we have this puzzle. The point of this puzzle is to get all elements, earth, wind, fire, and water, up there. So the cool thing about this is it's dynamic. It literally changes every time you come up to it. The not cool part about demoing this is it changes every time that you come up to it. So what that means is Louis here is going to have to try to solve this differently every single time that we do this. So we'll give him a couple of shots here, and if he doesn't do it, we'll just cheat past it, because otherwise we'll have to sit here and write down what each of these switches does. It's a giant pain in the ass, and I don't want to waste your time, to be quite honest with you. Hey, we did it. All right. Thumbs up, Louis. So we just opened this door, and if I was grouped up with him as, say, I don't know, an explorer, I would be able to come in here with him. So that's kind of the benefit of grouping up with other paths. So we got a boss in here. Louis is going to do his best to kick your ass. One of the things that we do as like a quality of life update is have this guy drop his head when you kill him. So I don't know if you guys have played other MMOs where you're running out in the field and there's a name guy. You kill the name guy and then you run back into town and there's a quest giver and he goes, "Hey, can you go kill this name guy?" And you're like, "Damn it, I just did that." The cool thing about this is when you actually kill this guy, he drops the head already. So you don't have to go back, get the quest, come back, kill him again, that sort of thing. It's little quality of life issues that we try to focus on at Carbine to make games like this sing with ease of flowing and improved content. So there we go, we just got our quest there. As a scientist, we can scan these Elven informational constructs. And this is information about the exolab that we just entered. The Elven have these all over the place, and they all have different purposes and meanings. The AI here, known as the caretaker, is informing you what went on here. And apparently there's a lot of teleportation experimentation going on, and that's what he's reading about. We also have our Galactic Archive. The scientists, when they scan certain things, will unlock features in the Galactic Archive. So we just unlocked this article. It tells you about the Elven teleportation system, Elven primal locking mechanisms, all that stuff. And the scientists can unlock every single piece of the Galactic Archive, whereas the explorer or the settler or the soldier cannot do that. And we also have data cubes. Data cubes are pieces of Elven lore that are fully voiced, and they talk about what's been happening in the area, that sort of thing. It's voiced by the actual Elven themselves. Anybody can click on those, but the soldier, or excuse me, the scientist is the only one that can scan that and get a little bit of path XP. So we just cheated again. We've turned now into an explorer. When you're playing the paths, you have to pick a path at the very beginning and you can't change it. You're stuck with that path the entire time you play it. So what we're showing you here is a Vista mission. So it's pretty cool. You know, we're running to the highest point in the mountain here. Louis is going to plant his satellite beacon. Boom, so that thing just came in. And it's pretty awesome. You get a nice little vista of what the zone looks like. It's a pretty massive zone. And that's all well and good. But the reason that we're showing you this is if I was a scientist and I was hanging out for a week, and he just got 35 path XP for doing this, I get 5 path XP for helping him out. if I'm in a group and he does something, he gets credit. And same with me, if I'm the scientist and I unlock that door, he gets some credit for that too. We want to encourage grouping with this stuff, so we're giving people credit for doing stuff, even if they didn't really do anything to help. So, all right, we're off to Algarock, and along the way we'll be leaving Gallerus here. This is track 2 of Gallerus. Something that we also wanted to show off was our zones load seamlessly. So we have, let's say in a continent, we have, I don't know, 5 zones or 4 zones. If I run in between them, you'll notice no load bar, no loading time, just loaded straight in. But, you know, from continent to continent, that's where you see the loading bars, or if you go to space, yeah, there's a loading bar. So this is a giant Elven world destroyer. The exiles have excavated this entire area, and they found this crazy Elven technology. And this guy, on occasion, will get a little aggro and start firing at those robots down there. Now, you'll notice that those robots got hurt when that happened. So if you're in the area and you're fighting them, and those telegraphs appear on the ground, you can stun those guys, jump out of the way, and that robot could kill them, in fact, or just hurt them pretty good. So anyway, we're going to go off to Tremor Ridge, and we'll pass through Gallo here. Gallo is a recently settled town, and you can see it's still kind of under construction. The reason that that's the case is Nexus was recently discovered. You know, people have not been here for thousands and thousands of years, so it's a newly developing planet. And so to do that, you need settlers. And that's our 4th path that we have yet to discuss, but we'll discuss right now. So Luik, once again, is going to cheat heavily and is going to turn into a settler. So, as a settler, you have many things to build up your hubs to make them more alive and more useful, frankly. So in here, we're just building these up. If you're a role player, this is totally the path for you, because you can kind of mess with this stuff, and normally people can't see this stuff. But when the settler builds them in, everybody can see these improvements that kind of pop in the area. Lighting torches, activating banners, that sort of thing. My favorite part, though, of the settler is definitely the infrastructure. Infrastructures are located over here with Builder Gemma. An example of this is basically they're a public event that you can activate as a settler. And you have to find resources to put into building this structure that we just saw the construction parts kind of come out. So what we're going to do is look for some resources. We're going to grab these, for example. You notice that little box floating above the week's head there. We're going to go give that to Builder Gemma. And normally you'd have to do this a lot of times. We're going to get some credit for it. You'll notice that we have 1 of 5 there. But normally these things take like 50, 60, 70 resources to build. But we're just going to cheat and build it right now. So what this spawns in is not only a cool looking structure, but this gentleman right here, who is a found quest giver, he has some weaponry that he's developed, and he uses these loftite crystals as bullets. Loftite makes you float. So imagine if you shoot someone with said loftite, they will float away. So it's kind of funny because these little guys are running around, you shoot them, and they're like, ah, what did you do to me? And they just float into space. It's pretty funny. So this is a rare quest giver. Talk to this person and you can get a shield that's available for level 7 players. It's pretty much the best shield that you can get at level 7 in this area. And so it's great to have a settler around because they can spawn this stuff in and use it. And hell, even if you're a settler, you can use that, so you can be useful for yourself. Something as a little side note, when you guys play the game, if you want to check out our housing system, we have access to that here. So all you need to do in-game is run up to this gentleman right here. He's a housing specialist. He's a Protostar guy. You talk with him, and you just click on the house after talking with him, and you are good to go on building your own house. We'll also give you lots of cash too, so if you want to build lots of crazy shit in the walls and stuff, we'll give you that. So here we are in the Loftite Cliffs, and we've cheated once more and turned into a scientist. So we have a challenge to kind of scale the cliffs, but we also have our path mission, which is going on. We just scanned that Loftite. And what's cool about it is you may be wondering, why the hell are you floating? Well, you can find that out in your galactic archive now that you've scanned a piece of that Loftite. So as we're going through, there's also challenges to collect pieces of crystals, stuff like that. There's also quests to collect these crystals. And there's quests to scan them, or path missions to scan them. We call that layered content, basically where you're doing one thing, but you're affecting 3 objectives at the same time. It's basically playing like a smart person. That's the TLDR way to say that. So here we're going up the cliff a little bit more. And we have this exquisite loftite. And when we scan this, we can jump even higher than we can already jump right now. Why this matters is across the way is a chasm that's super hard to get across. But if you have this buff, you'll be able to make it across. And there's some lore over there, and there's a found boss over there. And the cool thing is, if I'm grouped up with somebody else, they can scan that, or they can receive the benefits of that scan from you, and jump over there too. So we found some lore over here. This poor dead protostar has left something in his data pad before he died there. So yeah, you can read these and record them. And it's not absolutely necessary to progress through the game, but you know, if you are the completionist that has to have every single piece of lore in the game, this is probably the path for you. And or it's probably wise that you have somebody like that in your group. So we have this boss here. Luik is probably going to kick the crap out of him because he's like 10 levels higher than him, but normally this would be somewhat of a challenge. So you'll notice that he's handling it quite easily. Or not. One last hit, you should be good to go. There we go. And again, because he's a boss, if you didn't take the quest to kill him, he drops the quest instead. So once again, we are going to cheat, turn into a settler, head on back to Gallo. So over in Gallo, we're going to show off a feature we call depots for the settler. Depots are these little things you'll find on the ground and you interact with. And when you do interact with them, you can build up things in the town, similar to the infrastructure. So, for example, if I wanted to build a bank, or I wanted to build a buff of some nature, what you need to do is collect resources that are all over the world in this area, and put them into this depot here. So you'll see you want to contribute to economy, security, and quality of life. To do that, each one of those things represents, you know, a bank box, for example, will represent economy, obviously. So if I have a bank box, it's just like a bank. If I have too much stuff in my bags, I can throw it in there and keep it there for safekeeping. But another really cool thing that we can do is spawn in a taxi. So we're going to go to the Grim Valley Speeder here. You can see it off in the distance being built. And you'll notice that he just got path credit for doing that. So the other question you might be asking is, well, what if I want to build that taxi but it's already built? Well, what you do is contribute into that, into keeping it up longer. These decay over time, so let's say that this taxi will be only there for 5 minutes. So if I come up after it's already been built, I can put more time into it by adding more resources into it and get credit for my path mission. So up here we'll build up some of these resources. Just building this up, this infrastructure, unfurling some sleeping bags, make it look like it's a little bit more lived in here. And then on top of that, we can open up this depot. We can build a taxi back into town. We can also put in a mailbox if we want to send our friends hate mail or love letters or whatever. And you can send them money or items too. But we also have the Pioneering League Riflemen. These are guards, basically. So we spawn these guys in, and Louis is going to go get some aggro on some of these guys. And the cool thing about this is both the guards and the enemies will use telegraphs. So it's dynamic content that we're just putting in here. So you'll notice they start spinning and attacking that way. This is not scripted. This looks different every time we show this. It's pretty cool stuff. But it also means that if I'm a lower level player and I'm having some trouble with these guys, I can just kind of run over, aggro them, have my friends here help me out, and I can beat the crap out of them and get some credit for it. But if you're also not careful, they'll kill some of the guards too, so you gotta try your best to help out at the very least a little bit. Anyway, we can roll back into town now. We'll build a taxi. Not back in. You'll notice on our trip back that there are settler resources out there that are glowing. You'll also notice that there are trade skill nodes. Trade skill nodes in our game are pretty cool because you have to beat the crap out of them to get the stuff that you need for your trade skill. But on top of that, sometimes they happen to be a gigantic monster and will rumble up out of the ground. You have to kick the crap out of them. And the cool thing is the critters that run around that are trade skill nodes, when you hit them, they drop trade skill nodes. It's pretty fun. So over here we have Builder Arcos. This is another infrastructure. We're going to talk to her, and she's going to build up a jail for us eventually. We need to find pieces of evidence to prove that there's criminal activity in the area. So we're going to collect this here. Now that we've got that, we're going to go drop it off with her. And normally we'd have to do this 40, 50, 60 times, but we're just going to cheat and build it up right here. Lamo. So, this is a structure that's now in the world that has collision and was not there before. And there's a buff on this person. So if we talk to this Justice Windrow, he gives you a pretty cool buff. It's a 20% critical hit severity increase. So if you're fighting creatures, you have a 20% extra chance of critting, which is helpful. And it's something that you probably want to keep around. And so other settlers that are in the area, they want to gather resources and they want to put them in here. It'll keep this around longer so you don't have to rebuild it up again. It'll stay up over time if you add more resources continually. So that's pretty much the demo, guys. Were there any questions? You guys need anything otherwise?
How does it work in terms of PvP? Is there a PvP element? Or?
There is. Within PvP, if you're doing, let's say, Battleground or something like that, settlers can spawn in certain things that will help out in the PvP area. But it changes, based off of the gameplay type. By the way, this is dynamic too. They'll just randomly run over and hunt critters that are not that are prey. So, anyway, yeah, it's settlers have things to do, scientists have things to do, soldiers have things to do in PvP that will help affect things, and you'll get path XP for doing that. So if you wanted to level up in PvP and get path credit for it, you can do that too.
Okay. But is it strictly for Battlegrounds? It's not Outworld?
No, I mean it's similar. For Battlegrounds, are you saying that for PvP related things in PvE?
Yeah, is it open world PvP effectively, or is it?
Yes, there is, but you have to flag yourself as available
Right.
for PvP so you don't get grief all the time.
On a PvE server.
Yeah.
On PvP server, you will be immediately.
Right. So
I was just thinking when you were doing that puzzle, you would have probably got killed about 10 times whilst trying to do it if you were in a PvP environment.
Yes, completely. But something that you could do as a settler is those guards could help out. So it depends on where you're at and tiers sometimes too. We have different tiers of things. So let's say you have a buff machine that gives you an XP buff of 5%. If you put in a tier 2 version of that, it might be 10%, or it might last for 20 minutes or something like that. So there's little things that can help you out indirectly with PvP.
And I'm guessing there's instances and kind of end game there for you to.
Yes, yeah, most definitely. There's a lot of end game stuff that we have planned. So yeah.
With the settler towns,
Yes.
how long realistically can they stick around? I mean, how many have you actually got, or in a zone can you expect?
Well, so this will stick around for something like 5 to 10 minutes.
Okay.
But again, if I collect a bunch of resources, I could come back here and keep it up as long as I can. I'd be there all day if I wanted it to stay around all day. But it works indirectly in that I do my questing and my path XP stuff, and I get my credit, and I'm ready to leave. I'm assuming somebody else will come in behind me and can continue keeping it up and alive. And if they're not, oh well, that means that somebody else is going to have to do the hard work of getting all those resources in and put it up again.
So is that the kind of thing you're monitoring close beta, how long things stay up and whether you need to tweak it down, the deterioration rate?
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, that on top of how often do people die, and what classes are dying more often than others, and what areas, what enemies kill people the most. Yeah, loads of analytics are being looked at right now.
Can enemy factions destroy other cities and settlement towns?
No.
That's just got PvP for now then?
Yeah. Yeah, it's basically, they could potentially kill guards,
Okay.
but I don't know about burning down a building or something.
Okay.
Any other questions? Awesome. Well, let's get you guys in the game.